Welcome to Tokyo Wave, recorded in a live studio in Harajuku, Japan, with your hosts Aaron and Parker. Alright everyone, welcome to episode 138 of Tokyo Wave. We're your hosts, Aaron Randall
and Parker Allen. On Tokyo Wave, we bring you weekly updates from our studio in Harajuku.
Join us in segments featuring this week's top news,
political happenings,
business,
and other random garbage.
To get us started, here are this week's top news highlights.
Tokyo's Shibuya sees subdued Halloween as tight security dampens the mood.
Farewell snack carts. Japan bullet train riders moved by notice of service's last day.
Japan Minister of State admits to paying rent to her mother from political funds.
This week in Japan. Alright, so our first story. Tokyo Shibuya sees subdued Halloween as tight security dampens mood.
Tokyo News has reported that repeated calls by Tokyo's Shibuya ward to stay away during Halloween seemed to have been received loud and clear by revelers on Tuesday night, as crowds in the famous district were markedly thinner and less colorful than in previous years.
The sound of whistles pierced the air throughout the night as police urged people to keep moving around the iconic Scramble crossing, with photo-taking opportunities not coming easy. Some vehicle traffic was also blocked near the JR Shibuya station.
Shibuya mayor and head of fun avoidance, Ken Hasebe, amped up his Halloween messaging this year amid fears of crowding that could escalate to potentially dangerous levels now that coronavirus restrictions have been lifted.
Over 150 people were killed in a crowd crush that occurred on October 29th, 2022 in Seoul's Itaewon Entertainment District after tens of thousands gathered to take part in Halloween festivities.
And apparently somebody saw some random famous dude who ended up not being famous at all, and they rushed to see the dude, and that's why there was a stampede.
Oh, I haven't heard. There's so many components to this story. I haven't heard that one yet.
Yeah, it's almost like a conspiracy theory. There's so many different theories on why what happened.
Yeah.
But of course, it's extremely tragic that such a thing happened. At the same time, Japan has a crap ton of people everywhere at all hours of the day. We don't really see stampedes in Japan.
No. But we were talking about this last week.
Yeah.
I mean...
But is it really reasonable to think of a stampede or like a massive, people tripping over each other situation in Japan?
I think inside the station platform area, it's totally a possibility. Just because I live close to Maihama Station, on days where there's like an insane amount of people leaving Disney around 8-9 p.m., you cannot move. And if you get stuck in that group of people, I mean, I could imagine if half of that crowd was intoxicated, it could really easily turn ugly because people, get fed up and they want to move, start pushing people. I don't think it would be the same as Seoul, but it could be very potentially deadly.
Yeah, so please nobody ever dress up like Mickey Mouse on the platform at Maihama Station because you might cause a massacre. However, some people felt the unofficial Halloween gathering in Shibuya had become overmanaged.
A 17-year-old student who asked to be referred to as Yuna said that there are too many restrictions, so it spoiled the fun. Dressed as Playboy Bunny with her classmate Rion, the pair agreed it was a shame since it's only Shibuya where we can do things like this.
Apparently nobody told the duo about Roppongi, or Shinjuku, or Ikebukuro.
Yeah. Shinjuku is kind of weird though. I wouldn't recommend going to Shinjuku on Halloween.
Why?
I just had some weird experience there, and I don't know. I think Halloween, past 2 a.m. in Shinjuku Sanshomei.
Sounds like you know something that I don't, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
So there were giant public notice boards all over Shibuya stated in big, bold English letters saying that no events for Halloween on Shibuya streets. I was looking at them earlier this week and thinking, yeesh. And also the fact that they're in English.
Yeah.
Larger than Japanese. Like, are you trying to suggest that it's foreigners who've created this problem? Because I've seen the videos. I watch NHK too. All those people, most of them, not foreigners.
Yeah.
Why didn't you put it in big Japanese letters?
Yeah, the ads are weird. I mean, I think we mentioned it last week. They almost look like an advertisement for the event.
It's weird. It was really weird. We'll get into that later, though.
In addition to special police officers mobilized to prevent pedestrians from lingering, security guards and city officials patrolled the area to keep close tabs on the crowds through early Wednesday.
Creepy. So since 2019, Shibuya Ward has enforced a street drinking ban in areas near Shibuya Station during Halloween and the previous weekend. The ordinance took effect this year from last Friday through Tuesday, from October 26th through October 31st, between 6 p.m. at night to 5 a.m. in the morning each night.
Also, around 34 stores in the area were also asked to refrain from selling alcohol during those hours last Saturday night and on Halloween. And a couple, places that I kind of like to hit up, like Bar Bridge. I think they were closed. I don't remember, but I remember trying to get a hold of them and it was impossible.
Weird. So, Mamoru Morita, 47 years old, who had with him 2 pet iguanas and a goat. I don't know if that's a Halloween costume or just an awesome dude. He said that not only were there fewer people compared with last year, he also said that, quote, the police officers are noisy.
They are!
No shit, Sherlock.
They're the ones causing the greatest calamity there. Granted, they're controlling the crowds, but damn, they're so loud.
Yeah, no, I really think that this is a heavy-handed approach. It's too much. And they did not need to waste this much taxpayer money on this unnecessary security gathering.
Yeah. Morita also said, I think they should welcome Halloween rather than resist it. After all, everyone is coming because they love Shibuya.
And my awesome iguanas and goat.
Alright, and up next, farewell snack carts. Japan bullet train riders moved by notice of service's last day.
The Mainichi has reported that Central Japan Railways has wrapped up its beloved snack cart service aboard the Tokaido Shinkansen bullet train as of October 31st, 2023, with an attendance message of gratitude, moving some passengers to tears.
Wow. As one of the bullet trains drew close to its terminus, a message was read out following regular announcements reporting the end of in-train snack cart services.
The message stated, quote, so many of the smiles on our guests' faces and their warm words are etched into our hearts, making us realize our services have been beloved by so many. I hope our services will become part of your memories of the journey, especially when we passed out beer.
According to JR Tokai, the delivery of the message was proposed by an attendant. Upon listening to the message, one passenger commented, before I even noticed, I was moved to tears.
Masaki Oda, 49 years old, a company employee from Tokyo's Suginami Ward, heard the message and said, quote, I've used these cart services whenever I took a bullet train. I got teary-eyed because they offered warm service until the end. Now how in the hell am I going to get my beer on the train?
Cart services of refreshments and beverages by uniformed staff on board the Tokaido Shinkansen began when the bullet train was inaugurated in 1964. Wow, long time ago. And continued for nearly 60 years. Due to declining sales and difficulties securing staff, the railway operator decided to end the famed service on October 31st.
Since this was announced, this might seem like non-news to people who don't live in Japan or haven't really taken the bullet train that much, but that cart service was a lifesaver because how many times have you had to rush to the bullet train to make that train? You didn't have anything on you. You were hungry. You were thirsty. You were just like, I made it on the train, but now I have 3 hours with nothing to do.
Yeah.
And they had stuff. They had snacks. They had food. They had drinks. They had alcohol. I mean, they had everything that you would need for that journey to enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
I remember one time, this was so crazy. I had to go from Okinawa, which is obviously the southmost island chain in Japan, to Iwate Prefecture, which is almost in the northernmost part of Honshu. It was a day-long trip. I literally left at 8 a.m. and got there at like 10 or 11 p.m. And I only barely made it because my flight from Okinawa to Haneda was late. And so I had to get in a taxi and basically be like, get that train! And so we were like racing down the Shitoko Expressway to Tokyo Station. Everything went according to plan. I jumped out of that taxi, after paying my fare, of course, and made a beeline to the Shinkansen platform. And I got on the train with like 3 minutes to spare. And then I was actually bringing a musician up to Iwate for a benefit concert, and these guys had just got off the plane from America. They were on the bullet train. You know, they're about to go and do the show the next day, and I didn't have anything for these guys. But the drink cart came along, and I said, as so many have said before, how many beers do you have? And they let me know the number. And I purchased all of those beers. And everyone had a great time going to Iwate that evening. But without that service, I would have just been like, well, I'm sure you're thirsty and tired and hungry, but you're kind of screwed.
You know, I see this as a component to a bigger issue that's been going on for like 40 years now. And that's where on a lot of, transportation, like speed trains, planes, they're taking away stuff little by little. Like, I remember traveling in Europe on the speed train, and they have a freaking like restaurant in there. You can get some espresso, you can get some alcohol, you can hang out with other people on the train, which is so cool. Whenever I'm on the 14-hour flight from Southeast US to Japan, I'm like, why isn't there like a communal like hangout area where you can get drunk with people and talk? Because a lot of people on the flight might be doing cool shit.
Yo, that's called the back of the plane, where you chat up the flight attendants and get hammered.
And you get free snacks too.
Yes.
I actually just forgot about this recently.
Yes, so it's not official, but it is a thing. You go to the back of the plane, there's a bunch of bored flight attendants, and it's like, you give me booze, and I will give you everything I know about everything.
But then so what was the airline company back like in the 50s up to the 70s, and they flew everywhere. They flew from like
Pan Am, dude.
Pan Am.
Yeah.
Pan Am had like an upstairs.
Yeah, at the top of the 747, and they had like a bar, and like everybody was like having a good time. Like that romance has been robbed from like air travel, and now it looks like it's gonna go away from trains too. It's like, where are we going with this?
They're taking out all the cool shit.
No, I mean, everything that's fun is being deleted.
Yeah. It's frustrating. I will say, locally in Japan, I do usually get my my Nihonshu and my bento before I get on the Shinkansen here. But the fact that that's not an option anymore, like to get it on the train, if you're on some, I do some like 4 or 5 hour Shinkansen rides, like once or twice a year to visit, family stuff. If that's not there, that's gonna suck.
No, it really is. It's really the end of an era, and it's like, And I don't want to throw any stones, but did they really have to end this service? I mean, JR Central is one of the most profitable railway companies in the world.
Yeah, how much do they make a day? It's like insane. Like,
I mean, it's massive. So like, to suggest that they weren't making enough money on the drink service that they had to discontinue it, it's like, I'm pretty sure you guys are not on welfare. It just seems like another cost-cutting measure. And I mean, the airlines have been doing it too, this whole shrinkflation thing. Like, it used to be free to checked baggage in your luggage, and now it's like not free. You only get one free bag, and then you gotta pay $20, and you gotta pay $30, and you gotta pay $100. And like, since when did taking a flight and bringing your stuff become this, like, play-by-play, charge-by-charge situation? It's really unfortunate.
First time I've heard shrinkflation, by the way. I feel like people just put whatever word they want to in front of inflation or inflation.
Yeah, Marioflation.
Marioflation.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's probably what we're going through right now.
Yep.
Yeah. Need more coins.
Yeah, I need more coins, and, you know, Yoshi isn't pulling his weight.
Yoshi's gone, man. He's dead.
And up next, Japan minister admits to paying rent to mother from political funds.
According to the Mainichi, the minister in charge of policies related to children has admitted that the fund management organization she represents paid a total of 14.4 million yen, that's about 96,000 USD, to her mother as rent.
And it would have been fine if she had been paying it to an account held by her child, which would be much more on brand. But paying it to your mom, nope. So, at a House of Representatives Budget Committee meeting on October the 30th, Minister Ayuko Kato was asked by Takao Fujioka, a member of the main opposition party, the Constitutional Democratic Party of Japan, whether she had made rent payments to her mother. In response, Minister Kato said, quote, "It's true, as shown in the income and expenditure reports on political funds."
Fujioka also questioned whether Kato's mother filed a tax return regarding her rental income. Kato responded that her mother properly handles her own tax affairs, including property taxes and tax returns on the rental income.
When Fujioka asked that the related tax documents be submitted to the lower house committee, Minister Kato said, quote, "It is the personal information of my mother, who is not me, so I need to think carefully about whether these documents can be provided," indicating that she would respond according to the Diet's judgment.
According to some media reports, entries in the income and expenditure report of Kato's fund management organization revealed that she had been paying 150,000 yen, roughly 1,000 USD, per month as rent to her mother. Kato's office in her constituency and her mother's address are said to be the same location.
Last year, former Minister of Internal Affairs and Communications, Minoru Terada, and former Reconstruction Minister Kenya Akiba were similarly found to have paid family members office rent, among other expenses, using funds from their respective political groups. Both politicians were ousted after other scandals related to politics and money came to light.
In response to some media reports, Kato explained at a press conference in September that she had listed what should have been a donation as income from the sale of tickets to a fundraising party. She subsequently corrected the income and expenditure report.
You know, you see these things happen every time there's a new cabinet, and it is a bit shifty that every time there's a new cabinet, it's like these media organizations and opposition politicians go on the war hunt, and it is a total witch hunt. So that part I don't like so much. However, it is also important to say that these politicians know they're under scrutiny, and especially politicians who are up and coming and get these ministerial positions should know that they're going to be under the microscope. So it makes sense for these individuals to make sure that their financial affairs and their political organizations and everything related to their entire existence as a politician, those orders should be under control. They should be carefully managed. There's really no sense of compliance in these things. But it's not to say that these are massive organizations. One thing that I cannot stress enough is that being a Japanese politician is like being a small business owner. You know, you've got a handful of staff. It's not like America where you've got like 40, 50, 60 staff members for like a member of Congress. In Japan, we're talking about 3, 4, 5, maybe more than 6 people, then that's spread out between your diet office and then your local office in your home district. And these people have this huge burden on their shoulders of doing all this complicated management and accounting stuff that they're really not trained to do. So people come to simple conclusions, they cut corners. It's not because they're trying to be evil or shifty, it's because they just don't know what the rules are. And I wish that was more clear because, I mean, it would be one thing if this was malicious, but this just seems lazy, sloppy, whatever you want to call it. I think that does not resonate well with the public who thinks these politicians are just having $500 steaks every night. So it doesn't make a good excuse to say, well, we don't have the resources to do proper accounting. No, that's not a good excuse. But I feel like there should be more accounting literacy among these people.
Right. I have to say something too. After being back in the States for a month and like just absorbing what's going on in the States, you know, with Trump and just everything else and this rampant spending from like U.S. Politicians and Congress and the president, blah blah blah. Like this is nothing. This story here, right? $96,000. I'm sure you know it pisses people off. I respect Japanese and that they're so sensitive about this stuff. I wish Americans were more sensitive and got pissed off about this stuff because I think there was an emergency spending bill I saw 2 weeks ago, $100 billion that like Biden's, you know, about to like, you know, use money for. I know it's different, right? But like in America, it's like nobody cares. It's like that's $100 billion. They don't have.
And how much of that $100 billion goes to Hunty's I Like Cocaine and Crack Fund?
5%. But
yeah, what a dude.
It's two very different worlds, right? I mean, like we've talked about this on the show a lot. Politicians are always getting in trouble for using political funds for other stuff, and thank God the public is actually like, you know, sensitive and aware of it here, and they actually give a shit. Because in other countries like America, they don't give a shit. And God, like we're, you know, this is, I could jump into this rabbit hole.
It's really two extremes. It's Japan who cares about these minuscule amounts of money. I mean, there was a parliamentarian who was really outcast after receiving the princely sum of like $25,000 or 3 million yen from a Chinese casino affiliated company. This was many years ago. People are still talking about it.
3 million yen.
Yeah. 25,000, not even $25,000 now.
20K with the current yen.
No, I mean, and that was big news. That was all over the news. He got, you know, really got kicked out of the house with his tail between his legs. But that in America wouldn't even be a news story. $25,000?
Yeah. The people in the freaking government would throw that shit in the garbage.
No, I mean, it's really strange to see these two extremes.
Yeah.
And I guess it tells you something about the difference in political dynamics between the United States and Japan. And, you know, I don't really know what goes on in European economies because I don't watch as closely as I should. But it is very interesting to see the two extremes. But I wonder if there is a comfortable medium.
You know, yeah. And just to go on this topic a little bit more, I've talked to some Japanese friends about this. And a lot of Japanese friends are like, oh, it's because the U.S. has more money. It's, you know, but I'm just like, wait. Japan is writing checks for billions of dollars to other countries all the time.
We're still the third world's largest economy, even though Germany's about to win.
Yeah, it's like they're really big. You know, I don't think it's because Japan has less money. You know.
No, I think that there is a difference in sensibilities, and it's hard to quantify. It's hard to make sense of, but I think that, you know, we can say across the board, political spending has to be effectively managed and it needs to be properly accounted for. And the fact that it doesn't happen in any developed economy is wrong. And we can criticize that it's happening, but what does it say about the oversight? See, you see these scandals happen all the time. Does nobody think, oh, shit, if I don't do it right, I could end up in the same situation. I'm going to make sure that my house is in order. It's like, I mean, somebody making H&R Block commercial for politicians, right?
Yeah.
Who's going to help them with their taxes?
Yeah. Good opportunity for a aspiring tax accountant.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Maybe it's too much of a pain in the butt. I don't know.
Yeah.
But up next on Tokyo Panic Room, we're going back in there and we're going to be analyzing the aftermath of Shibuya Halloween 2023.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Tokyo Wave.
Tokyo Panic Room. On November the 1st, a day after Halloween, Ken Hasebe, the mayor of Shibuya Ward, Tokyo, reviewed a series of Halloween measures at a press conference.
So the question that's on everybody's mind, especially mine, is what was the cost of these security measures?
Mayor Hasebe began the press conference by saying, "The message from Shibuya Ward was generally well understood and cooperated with, and it was a relatively quiet Halloween. I would like to thank everyone."
As for the number of visitors, Mayor Hasebe said, quote, "The exact number will be announced later," but added, "As of 10 p.m. on the 31st, the number was estimated at around 16,000 people, a significant decrease from last year's 25,000 people and over 40,000 people in 2019 before the pandemic. While there was an expectation that nearly 60,000 people would have visited the city if no message had been sent out, this was the result of people refraining from coming to the city after the announcement. The sales restrictions on alcohol consumption on the streets were also effective, with no incidents or accidents involving alcohol consumption and no arrests made."
No arrests were made? I don't believe that.
This is malarkey.
Yeah. They have like 20 more.
There's a malarkey man in this Shibuya.
They had 20 freaking mobile detention units set up.
And they were all empty. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, right. That's bullshit. In response to criticisms raised on social networking sites, such as too much security and missing an opportunity to attract people, he said, "For more than 10 years, I have been calling for a positive change in the energy of young people, but the situation has been difficult, and local residents and business owners have suffered a great deal of inconvenience. We originally did not want to say, 'Don't come to our town,' and it was a painful message for the shopping district." He then explained, "Shibuya is not a closed town, but a town that has absorbed various things, mixed with various people, and introduced new values and culture through mutual recognition. We would like to continue to make full use of such energy." That's a very politically way to say a bunch of things.
I'm having a hard time to say something about this because the only thing that keeps on echoing my mind is one word. Bullshit! This is such bullshit that it makes me burn inside. He has been opposing Halloween since he became the mayor. He doesn't give a rat's ass about the energy of young people, and he's just kowtowing to the old fogies who I guess vote for his dumb ass to keep him in office by opposing this thing that everybody likes except for old people. That's exactly what's happening here. Anything else is a farce. And this, PR crafted message, he can shove it up his ass.
It's such a non-neutral statement to say a town that has absorbed various things mixed with various people and introduced new values and culture through mutual recognition.
They absorbed a massive windbag with their current mayor.
Jeez. I feel like there's a lot of
And you know what? I mean, people might think, you're going over the line. You're saying too many things about this guy. This guy is not a good guy. This guy has deep ties to the tobacco lobby. He was connected while I was at Hakuhodo to an Instagram account with no reference to any ads or any PR whatsoever that were promoting women smoking and saying that it's sexy, etc. This is not a good guy. He is a subterranean warfare master. And this is just another example of somebody pretending like they have good intentions because they want to get their own benefit out of it. It stinks from the very core.
Why are there not more smoke areas if he's tied in with big tobacco?
He probably is trying to distance himself from it. I wonder what his political expenditure reports look like. And I want to know many money went to his friends for this massive PR campaign that cost Shibuya about $1 million. If not more. That's what they're saying they spent. I'm not so sure about that.
No way.
It's way over $1 million.
Oh, yeah. He thanked the police and traffic operators, saying, "The police did a great job, not only in the area around Shibuya Station, but also by setting up extensive checkpoints to prevent the entry of vehicles that were blasting noise. Traffic operators also actively cooperated to protect the city. Together, they really worked hard for the safety and security of the city. I felt the city pride of Shibuya."
And I felt disgusted. And if you hire someone to do a job, they're going to do the job. This is Japan, you know. What's the city pride of Shibuya? I wonder how many of those people who were working the event actually live in Shibuya. I mean, think about it. We're talking about security guards. Yeah. How many security guards do you think live in Shibuya Ward, one of the most expensive places in Tokyo? How does security guards and city ward officials, which don't have to live in Shibuya, and probably many of them can't afford to live in Shibuya, where's the pride there? That is also bullshit.
Also, complete, disregard for any of the local shops and stores that could have benefited huge economically.
And all the news reports do the exact same thing. They focus on the stores that didn't benefit. It's like, what are they, like selling shoes in Sentai? Should be selling Strong Zero, son.
Yeah.
The kids love it.
Yeah. He said it helped curb inconvenience, but like all the fucking convenience stores that make so much money in those areas, especially on nights like Halloween, we're just all shut down. Yeah,
I mean, who did that convenience? I mean, because some of those stores are not corporate; those are franchises.
Yeah,
but people were foregoing untold amounts of money by complying with this silly ward ordinance.
Mm-hmm.
Here's another thing that really grinds my gears. So, Hasebe also said regarding the quote effectiveness of overseas publicity, he said, quote, "We had no know-how in overseas publicity, but as a result, about 70% of the visitors were foreigners, and we were feeling the effects of the announcements. We started this project by hand and received a lot of cooperation, but we would like to gradually accumulate know-how." I mean, he basically said everything except for, "Fuck you tourists, go home." What a jerk. And all these announcements, you saw them in Shibuya, right? I saw them. I don't even freaking go to Shibuya on Halloween. I don't have a dog in this race, but I saw these announcements, and the thing that really got me is that in big, bold English letters, it said no events for Shibuya Halloween.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, you're trying to make it about us now. Japan is 97% Japanese. If you did a nationality count at Shibuya Halloween on any year, I promise you're not going to see 70% of foreigners ever. This number, I want to see backup. I want to see data. This sounds like it just got pulled out of nowhere and thrown into the microphone. This doesn't quantify anything. 70% of the people in Shibuya on Halloween were foreigners? You think that's true?
No way. It just sounds absolutely like fear-mongering.
Impossible. It's impossible. It's fear-mongering and it's racist.
There you have it.
I have more reasons to hate this guy by the second. Hate.
As for the cost of safety measures, he said, security costs have increased to about 88 million yen, but this is unavoidable. It is one of the responsibilities of the ward to protect the ward. Nevertheless, we do not want to unnecessarily inject more and more ward taxes, and we will consider this as one of the issues for next year.
Sure you will. I'll be watching. So, regarding the future of Halloween in Shibuya, Hasebe said, quote, I would like to listen to a wide range of opinions and do my best for the security and safety of Shibuya. We would like to further enhance the value of Shibuya and our city brand. Shibuya is not a town where anything is forbidden, nor does it include young people, especially those drunk assholes out in Sentai topping over those K-truck and making me look like an idiot. It is a shame that we have to go through something like this, but we would like to take this experience into consideration and move forward.
Okay, so Parker, did you go out at all on Saturday, Sunday?
No.
Okay, so I usually don't go out I don't go out that much at all anymore. I have 3 friends from New York here, 1 friend from London, and she brought her other friends, and so it was Saturday night. And I assumed that Saturday was going to be the biggest Halloween night. So I'm like, guys, let's stay away from Shibuya.
So you were part of the 70%.
But we didn't go to Shibuya. And I told everyone, do not get off at a terminal station. Because if there's a crowd, I had seen some friends were already out and about. I had seen some videos of people inside the stations. That's where the not being able to move and the extreme claustrophobic, crazy situations were going on. So I'm like, okay. So anyways, my friend, we went to the New York bar. We got totally wasted at the Peak Lounge and Park Hyatt. Highly recommend. They do a Nomi Whole Dive for 2 hours. 7,000 yen a person, kind of pricey. But all the cocktails from New York bar, it's fucking awesome. We were totally wasted. We had 10 or 15 cocktails. And then we're walking around Shinjuku Sancho Mei. And so the 3 guys from New York, one of them was born in Colombia. The other 2 are actually also from South Florida. So, we're all kind of, yeah. And the Colombian friend also, I went to school with him in Florida. So we're all from Florida. And they can all speak Spanish pretty well. And we were at an izakaya in Shinjuku Sancho Mei after the bar. And everyone was just kind of speaking Spanish, just kind of joking around because everyone's Spanish sucks. And it was just kind of fun. I don't know. And so we go from that place to a karaoke. And as we're leaving, 2 of the friends from London start talking to this guy inside the izakaya. And I jokingly said, oh, it's a Mexican Brad Pitt. Because he was a very beautiful looking Mexican man, not going to lie. And so they brought this guy and they brought this guy's friend into the karaoke with us. So we ended up inside a karaoke around 2 or 3 a.m. with these 2 guys from Mexico. And the guys didn't know they were in Japan, is the first thing. So the guy that was not Mexican Brad Pitt, the other guy that looked like Tuco from Breaking Bad, he figured out that I could speak Japanese. But, he's like, oh, you can speak Chinese? Okay, so I became this guy's servant for the next hour and a half. And we were at karaoke. And this dude was ordering 15 gigantic things of sake over and over and over again, and whiskey and all this stuff. And we were at a karaoke, it's the shittiest, Nihonshu, sake, whatever.
It's not the top shelf stuff, that's for sure.
No, and at first, I think we let these guys come with us because we're ha ha ha, this will be funny, 2 random dudes, and we didn't know they could speak English because we were all speaking Spanish with them, kind of joking around. But it turns out the guy that was not Mexican Brad Pitt, the other guy, the Tuco dude, was extremely aggressive, and he started pointing at us and forcing us to do things. And
so he's just like real Tuco.
He was a lot like real Tuco. And my buddy from Colombia, Mike, as the guy was he was shouting at us, telling us to do stuff. He was, forcing us to drink, forcing us to dance to the Backstreet Boys and all this other shit. And my buddy Mike is like...
That's a serious offense right there.
No, it was really weird. Me and my buddy Mike were dancing. We're kind of haha, this is funny, but also wait. And he kept freaking out when people tried to leave. He's like, where are you going? You stay in here. Kind of screaming at us and all this stuff. And Mike kind of whispered to me, and the other 2 guys, also from South Florida, were like, yo, these guys, they kind of seem like cartel. They seem like Mexican cartel. And so we kept asking them, yo, why are you guys out here in Japan? And they kept saying, oh, we have business in China. So, we're waiting for our flight, blah, blah, blah. And, as I said, they didn't know that they were in Japan. They, he kept pointing at me and saying, this guy can speak Chinese. Get him to get us some more drinks, and so that's what I kept doing.
With your impeccable Chinese ability.
Yeah, with my impeccable Chinese ability at a Japanese karaoke. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, it was probably crazier than it. I'm not doing a great job of explaining it, but the thing that really got me is he started forcing us to drink like absurd amounts of alcohol, and we had already drank so much.
So I'm going to stop you right there. How did it end?
So it ended by him forcing us to drink a lot of alcohol, and everyone wanted to get the fuck out of there. He was also kind of like touching some of the girls in very inappropriate ways. He was doing like weird shit. And he like when he wanted you to do something, he would point at you and scream at you, like, in English or whatever. And so, it was kind of like we were all really intoxicated. And my buddy Mike, who was born and raised in Colombia, told me this dude is probably a Mexican drug cartel. Like, he is acting like it, or he's just like a super dangerous guy from Mexico. And I mean, they were flying back to Mexico City. They told us that. So anyways, he had me drink like a huge thing of sake, or he drank the whole thing of sake, and he looked at me. He's like, "Hey, bro, in Mexico, if you don't drink the whole thing like me, we fucking kill you." And so I was like drinking little by little, trying to keep up with the dude. And at that point, I realized how drunk I was, and this dude was like giving me crazy bad vibes and freaking me out. My heart was like racing, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm having a panic attack." And so I left and went outside. And then one by one, a bunch of my other friends came out, and we just like waited for those guys to leave. And yeah, supposedly they tried to pay with some weird card, according to the Japanese karaoke, but they didn't pay, and they fucking left in a taxi. So we had to cover like this insane bill because the dude wouldn't stop ordering.
I gotta know, how much was it?
It was about $1,000. Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah, but there was like 7 of us, so it wasn't that bad.
That's still that burns. That burns.
I mean, spending $1,000 at a karaoke is difficult. You have to order like 15 drinks every 15 minutes.
I gotta say, man, you got 2 code.
Yeah, that was my the end of the night.
Well, I guess they always say trick or treat. I guess you got the trick.
Yeah, man.
Ouch.
Yeah, I need to go out again to like fix my bad luck, but that was really weird. And then a bunch of my Japanese friends were like, "Dude, don't be in Roppongi or Shinjuku Sancho Mei past 2 or 3 a.m. Like, and during the Halloween time, it's just like not great people are out."
Yeah, I guess we've just become risk averse old people now. Like, I mean, I didn't even think about going on Shibuya on Halloween. I was like, Shinjuku or Roppongi, whatever. It's just like, why?
Yeah.
I mean, I oppose what the mayor is doing because, one, I think it's saying one thing for a different intended outcome. Like, I think he's opposing Halloween just because he thinks it's going to help him get votes. I don't like that.
Yeah.
And I also think that this event lets people, let down their hair. It lets people, sort of relax. And I remember when I was a student in Tokyo and going to Halloween, having lots of fun. And it makes me sad that now people can't just go out and have fun anymore. They got to be yelled at by the police. They got to, sneak in their drinks. They got to, plan it all out like they're, friggin' Mission Impossible. That just makes me feel sad inside because Halloween is about having fun. It's not about having to deal with all this bureaucratic crap.
Yeah.
And I feel like, that experience is being slowly robbed by young people in Tokyo.
Yep. No, for sure. I mean, there's a lot more strings attached now in Japan and in Tokyo than there were, I think, 10 years ago or 14 years ago when we first came.
Yeah, it's sad to say, but maybe it'll get better in the future. Who knows?
Yeah.
Hey, listeners, that's right. You listener right there.
Who do you think should be our next guest on Tokyo Wave? Let us know. Drop us a line at wave@tokyowave.jp or check us out on Twitter.
We hope you enjoyed Tokyo Wave.
If you haven't already, you can subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, and YouTube.
Join us again next week on Tokyo Wave.